get into the bets. Who do you like for outright picks this week, Cody?
So for my outrights, and I'll mention off the hop this time. So I'm in Canada. I use Bet365. These numbers are going to change depending on which book you use. Also, when I bet the outrights, I also bet the each way. So I know that's something that, depending on your book, you may or may not have. I recommend it. So ended up hitting Jason Day on the each way last week. So the outright didn't pay out. He didn't win the tournament. But the each way, depending on how many spots you get. So he finished T4, so I got a full spot on the each way. So I still made some money last week. First pick for the outright is Harris English at plus 3,300. He's fourth overall in my model this week. Solid showing last week, like as Zach was talking about his results. The DK scoring didn't really reflect how well he played. So he finished 13th last week, and he was 17th prior to that at the RBC Heritage. I think the weaker field than what we've seen since the break, it'll help English, and he's with his recent form, he should be on the leaderboard come Sunday. Second is Lucas Glover at plus 3,500. So Glover's 7th overall in the model this week. He had 4 straight top 25s coming out of the break before finishing 38th last week. And of course, it was a much tougher course and a much deeper field. So I'm not going to hold that against him too much. Had success here last year. He finished 7th. And I mentioned there's a bit of a correlation that I found with the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So he finished 21st there earlier this year. And the biggest thing with Glover that I see is his improved putting. That was really one of his weaknesses in his game before the break and in previous years. And he's just been solid with the putter since the return. So this could be the week where it all comes together for him. Lastly, for the outrights, I got Carlos Ortiz at plus 7,000. So he's 20th overall in the model. He was 5th here last year. And he's shown that he can score on some of the easier courses. We've seen him in the mid-teens under par. So he's I'll talk about him more later on. But Carlos Ortiz at plus 7,000 is a value that I really like. So who do you like for your outright plays this week, Zach?
First one is one you already mentioned. I'll just mention why our odds are a little bit different. Cody uses Bet365 and I use MyBookie. So sometimes the odds are going to be a little bit different. But Lucas Glover, plus 3,000. He's 8th in my model, 15th in ball striking, 7th last year and 21st at Rocket Mortgage. And then he's been playing well, like Cody said. He's made 5 straight cuts. So that's the first step, is making the cut and then making a move on Saturday and Sunday. And he does pretty good at making the cut. My next one is Heinrich Norlander, and he is plus 5,500. Another guy that's been playing really well, made 4 straight cuts, and 2 of his last finishes have been in the top 15 with a 6th place finish last week with the conditions. It was really impressive that he finished that high. 12th at Rocket Mortgage this year with a similar course setup that Cody's mentioned, and he's 17th on my model. So taking a chance on him. And then the last one is Troy Merritt at plus 8,000. 7th here last year and 8th at Rocket Mortgage this year. The model doesn't love him as well. 78th on my model. So don't necessarily like him for DFS, but other than GPP. But why not take a shot on the outright here? So who are you liking for head-to-head? It looks like you don't have any head-to-head again this week that you picked out.
Yeah, the head-to-head market on Bet365 this week was pretty limited. So I went for some bets that I like for a top 20 finish. So Lucas Glover, who we talked about already, at plus 150. Henrik Norlander at plus 250, and Carlos Ortiz at plus 300. These are the ways these these bets are one of the ways that I really grow my bankroll for betting. They're not the big sexy 4 or 5 digit numbers, but all 3 of these hit and I'll be sitting pretty. So just like a couple of weeks ago, I hit a couple of my head-to-heads. Last week I got Day as the top Australasian. So I'm just going to keep hopefully hitting some of these lower bets to keep my bankroll padded until we hit some more, get on the heater like we were before the break. So who do you like for your head?
First one is Tony Finau, plus 100 versus Tommy Fleetwood. And this is pretty much a pick here just because Finau's, he's been playing well, coming in 8th place at Memorial. And he actually ranks first on my model. And then Fleetwood, it's just too much of a question mark, in my opinion, with his first tournament coming back after the break. We've seen guys like Cantley do really well in their first tournament after the break. Then we've seen guys just look awful, needing to knock off the rust. So if you can get plus odds for a guy that should do better this week, I think it's a good one. And then the next one is Will Gordon, plus 135 versus Patrick Rogers. Gordon comes in 5th on my model. Rogers is 55th. Rogers has missed the cut in 3 of his last 5 tournaments. And then Gordon finished 3rd at Travelers. He did miss the cut at Rocket Mortgage, but I think with the time off the last couple of weeks, he should come back and perform really well like he did at Travelers. So let's get into the cash.